our third. Oh, I shouldn't do like that. I should do like that. Third. Then we like sixth. Our third session of our episode of Meet Me in the Middle. So quit throwing up gang signs, okay? Because you don't know what you're doing. So this time we're going to be talking with Therisa Means, our special guest, and we have thoroughly enjoyed you, Therisa. Thank you so much again for being just a powerhouse. And I told you that, when we weren't taping, but I mean it from the bottom of my heart. Joy and I are thoroughly enjoying this interview with you. You sharing and being transparent, with pieces of your life, and just watching how dynamic God is in weaving all those pieces together. So this last part that we're going to talk about is you being a motivational storyteller, and that has some curiosity for all of us here. So can you tell us a little bit more about being a motivational storyteller?
So as a motivational storyteller, I created that I guess title because I was tired of just saying like a motivational speaker or a keynote speaker. I was like, people always try to put me in this category like, oh, you need to preach or something. Listen, I don't like titles at all. I don't like titles. People, they trip on these titles, but I was like, what do? I literally tell stories, and I tell my stories or stories that I've heard from other people, but mostly my own. So what do? Like, I motivate people through my stories. So I was like, yeah, a motivational storyteller. That's what I'll be. So
I love it. And aren't you writing a book?
I am writing a book. I am not done with it. I feel like every time I'm like, okay, I think I'm good, the Lord is like, oh, well, let's work on this. And it's crazy because it's about like everything that's going on in my life. But then I'm like trying to throw everything, and I'm only 31. So, but God has already shown me, hey, whoever said you couldn't have a second one. So I'm trying to finish the first one.
How long have you been working on this book?
Years. The Lord told me to write this book like years ago. Like when I first started realizing some things and having different revelations, it started off, oh, it's going to be a devotional. And then it was a book of poems. And then I lost them. And then it was something else. So now it's that redeeming, God will redeem. It's become just a book of just the lessons and the revelations that God has given me throughout my life.
Okay, so hold on, Joy. Let me just jump in real quick. And I wanted to say this last time, the redeeming part. Yes. Man, that hit me like a ton of bricks, because I think we get it in our heads that at 31, you're past a certain time clock for yourself. Mm. When I went through grad school, I wanted to be done by 30 years old. I ended up finishing grad school like 34, 35. And I was like, okay, yes, thank you, Jesus. I'm giving him a pat on the shoulder. Thank you, Jesus, that, you helped me get through this. But it really wasn't on my time schedule.
Right.
And, we have the audacity to humor the Lord like that at times. So, but what I'm trying to say is, I think what you said was so deeply hopeful when you're talking about redeeming the time and how God redeems your time. And it's not even necessarily in your time frame, but it's when everything's going to come together when it's supposed to come together for you, because it's your path.
Right.
It's only your path. So I'm adding some more meat to what you said, but that's how it hits me. That's how it hits me. And it's so hopeful. It's so hopeful for anybody that's out there listening, that you might think that you've gone past some point of no return, or you skipped out on something, or you missed a window, but God pulls all that stuff together.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
And we have to remember, time is something we need. God don't need time. Yeah. He created time for us. So he doesn't have to go on anything. He can do whatever he wants. So at, like, even me, I know one thing that I always thought about, I know I talked about the abortion in the first episode, but what if I'm like, the older I get, I don't have kids yet. Mm-hmm. So I always think about, like, what if something happens where I can't have kids, or what if it gets too late? And then you have society putting on you, girl, you getting old, you know, and all these getting old. And I'm like, well, you know, Sarah had kids. I mean, Lord, I don't want to be 90 with them, but you know, if that's what you want, Jesus.
There you go.
But he will redeem the time. And if we're being honest, most of the slips in time have been from us not paying attention to what we're supposed to be doing. So I just thank God for grace that he even puts up with me enough to even say, I'm going to redeem your time. Because he could say, I'm going to just leave you where you at, you know.
Yeah. What's that thing? You mentioned a quote. You said a quote to me when you and I were just talking on the phone before this. Something about get past, don't sink in, or get past, not sink in. What was it? What's that quote you said to me? Do you even remember? It was so good.
Question mark.
I mean, it was like, you can get past your past, don't sink in. Something.
Oh, I remember what I don't remember the exact quote, but I was talking about sharing, that communicating and talking to people and stuff about how when we don't and we're in isolation, we'll get stuck in our past, but we're supposed to move past the past and not sink into it.
That's it, right? Move past the past and don't sink into it. I love that, because how many of us just go, you know, this is just the way I am. This is what life has dealt me, you know, this is whatever. But actually you take those things that even were bad things, or hard things, as you say, or just painful experiences, or any kind of experience, and you turn that around and you share your story, and in doing that, you giving life to other people. And I just got to tell you, I love that above your head it says phenomenal.
Thank you. So this is my my thing to my website. I always say choose to make it phenomenal, because you get to decide how you want your day to be. And so Angela did this for me. It says make it phenomenal, and it has my logo on it.
Shout out to Angela Hawk. Yay, we love her. That's I did not know she did that, but this whole time we've been interviewing you, and I'm like, I gotta say, that's just so cool. She got phenomenal above her head. I don't like titles, but that one's a good one. But I also love that you said, I mean, people probably want you to be, you know, be a preacher, be a pastor, be a this, or a speaker here. And you're just like, I just want to do what I'm made to do. And you're not so interested in trying to fit into a mold of a title or a particular way that is done. You're being you. You be you. Yeah. I love it. Yeah. Okay. Whew. Okay, that was good. You talk about transparency and just sharing your story, and you've been doing that all through this, you know. You're only 31. I still can't get over that. You're so mature and everything. The fact that you're sharing all this already, but what is it that, you know, what would you tell people that are struggling, especially with their story? What would you want to tell them, and how would you use to help them use their story to bring life to themselves as well as to others? Talk about that a minute.
So I would say, and it's going to sound cliche, but the reality of it is, try to look at it through God's eyes. We'll never be able to understand God and his view and his thinking, but look at it from a different perspective. Things are not happening to us, but they're happening for us. So I look at things, even though I do have those moments where I'm like, woe is me, Lord, I'm depressed, Jesus help me. But then I have to like force myself, just like the Bible says, cast down those imaginations. I literally have to force myself to think in a different perspective. So I start thinking with expectation. Oh, I cannot wait to see how God's going to turn this around. Or I can't wait to see how this about to be ended in my book. Like, I'm put this in a book, and I can't wait to see the reflection of it later on in life. Like, this is a horrible time, but what can I learn through it? Because we all know if we don't learn that lesson, God's going to put us through it again. And Lord, I do not want to go through this again. What is it, Jesus, that you want me to know?
Yes.
Tell me so that I can figure it out.
Yes.
So that's what I would say. Like, what is it that you're going through right now? What is the lesson that you can learn from it? What is it that you can take from it? And then think about it with expectation. Hey, I can't wait to see what God is going to do. I expect him to make this mountain such a phenomenal turning point that it becomes a part of a phenomenal movie that's going to inspire somebody after I leave this earth. Like, think about it that way, because God took the time to create you.
Yes.
Like, and I it's funny, but you see what's that, Look Who's Talking, or whatever, that old show with the sperm that was swimming up and stuff, that many, and you were created. You know what I'm saying? So God took the time to create you. He could have took you out a long time ago. There's many a times he could have took you out. Many a times where he should have taken me out, but I'm still here. So what is it that he wants me to learn? Like, what is it that he wants me to do? Because I just don't want to get to the end of this life, and I'm like, the Lord kept giving me time after time after time after time, and I didn't do what I was supposed to do.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna say preach. I'm gonna say teach.
Teach it, sister.
Yes.
Yeah. So where would you say that you're still in the middle?
Well, now that COVID is here, I feel like, and I told her this, I feel like everybody is in the middle now. COVID has, I tell people this, I prayed for COVID. I did not pray for the disease and for people to be taken out and things like that, but I prayed for COVID. I prayed for a moment. I was like, God, I just need a moment just to stop time so that I can figure out what I need to figure out and have time to do it. You know, I need you to help me, because I can't figure it out, and I don't have time to do the things that I need to do. I have such big tasks that I'm trying to do. And he literally gave us COVID. And yes, there are certain things that are going on, but I believe that COVID has been one of the best things to cause you to not only recognize and realize, like, hey, life is not guaranteed. Stop taking it lightly. Start cleaning up after yourself and stop sneezing all over the place and wipe your hands and those types of things. But also, like, the importance of community. Like, I live by myself. I got a dog during COVID, and this dog, like, now that I've gotten her, she's created an idea. So now I have a new business that I'm launching next year. You get what I'm saying? Like, COVID has brought so many things that I did not expect, but just understanding the community, and that, like, as humans, there is still humanity in us. We are still souls. There are people that still care. They may not show it. They want to show on the media all the horrible stuff, but there are still people who still care. There are still humans that still care. We can still get along. There is still God here. There is still love here on earth. And so I really much so appreciate COVID for giving us this insight of humanity and the love and how we can fight against this, and for giving us the time and the space for people that can do that fight on the ground. Like, we're not about to take some of this stuff no more. So I have been very much so appreciative of COVID, and I'm just waiting to just see how God turns all of this around.
You are totally a glass half full kind of girl, and I love that about you. Lindsay, I know you got to have a question in there about just her being a single Black woman. Let's ask it.
Well,
nothing like being put on the spot. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm with you. When you say that you're a single Black woman, do you get much pushback with the intellect, the talent, the powerhouse that you are? Do you get much pushback?
On being single at this point in time in my life?
Well, just the whole package deal.
Oh,
Pushback,
of course.
pushback. What I mean by that is from your purpose.
Yes.
Mm.
I have, because I know how powerful I am, well, I think I know. I don't feel like I really understand, but I'm getting to a point where God is showing me just what he's instilled in me, and the vision that he has for me. It's scary. And I talk about fire and fear, but the reality is it's still scary. Like I said, fear is a real thing. And so the fear more so comes not from failure, but of success. Like, I don't know, that's a whole nother level of success that I've never seen. So what is that going to look like? You get what I'm saying? And so I always have these, it's always a battle of, you know, am I doing too much? Am I doing too much according to what they say? Or, you know, God, do I feel like doing it? Because when you are powerful in Christ, there is going to be the attacks.
Yes, ma'am.
And just the reality of the situation, don't nobody feel like doing spiritual warfare all the time. Like, I don't care who you are, nobody feels like doing it. It's draining.
It's draining.
And so even that being said, I'm like, okay, God, deal with me and show me, but also show me what really is worth my time to battle with. Because some stuff comes to distract us from something we're supposed to be doing. So we out here having spiritual warfare against something over here to the left that ain't even that serious, because it's a distraction because we're supposed to go over there. You get what I'm saying? Yes. And so I'm always more so like, all right, what am I doing? God, please show me, reveal me to me. Like, I don't want the sugar-coated story no more. Like, convict me, Lord. Reveal me to me so that I can fix me, like, so that I can lay that at the altar and give it to you so you can fix it. Like, because like I said, ultimately, I just want to be what he wants me to be. And I tried my way all these years. I thought I was doing what I wanted to do, and I got but this far. So I'm tired of fighting against God. Now, I still do fight against him sometimes because, like I said, success is scary. But for the most part, because deliverance is an everyday battle, an everyday choice, sometimes every minute choice, I'm like, God, okay, my bad. I forgot. You go ahead and do it. Have at it. And I'm just here. Use me how you want. I'm tired of running. Just please don't give me no titles like that.
When I listen to you
explain
that, it reminds me of the children of Israel in the Old Testament, and how they asked God for every step that they took. So it was like, so it's almost as if God is taking us back to a primitive walk.
Yes.
Okay. So when you're saying, hey, Lord, I've already done it my way, I've goofed up, right? At this point, these steps are critical, and I want to be in your will.
Yes.
I want to step the way you want me to step. It's like we're going back to this primitive walk with the Israelites. Okay, Lord, are we supposed to go over this mountain and fight these people? And we're not going to move until you tell us what we're supposed to do.
And we're not going if you don't go with us. That's what Moses said.
Boom.
You don't go
and
with
that's
us.
where that everyday part comes in, because some days I get up and I'm like, the Lord want me to go this way, so I would just go. And at the end of the day, right, he's like, whoop, I got you. See, You not see that now what you doing? Now you done went over there and started this battle. Now you got your butt beat, just like God did for the Israelites. He let them get beat up sometimes. So he listen. Let me teach you a lesson. I'm sick of you. You done went out there, did what you wanted to do. Bring it on back. And then they're like, my bad. I'm sorry, Jesus. I feel like that's me and Jesus. Like, this is us.
Yeah, this is us. You said something about people are more afraid of success. My son has said this, and he's wise beyond his years as well, that often people are more afraid of succeeding at something than failure, talk about that just a minute.
if all of it boils down to this fear of unknown. For me, I can honestly say I have a control issue. I try to control everything. Everything. And so I'm out here like, okay, all right. So I don't know what this looks like, therefore I can't control it. Therefore it seems a little scary. Right? So the reality of a situation, when you dive deep into it, the underlining thing is I don't trust God enough. I trust him enough to get me this far, but I don't really have the trust that I think I have, because if I did, I wouldn't worry about controlling every single thing, because I know who's in control. And so that's been, when I say everyday battle, that's the everyday battle that comes with that fear of success. Okay, God, I don't know what it looks like. I know what some of the vision is, and you gave me a piece of vision enough to get me through to where I need, but I know it's probably bigger than that. But I don't know what that looks like. I don't know what that feels like. I don't know what friends I'll still have. I don't know what friends I won't have. I won't know if this boy that I done fell in love with, will he even be here then? Will you exit him out stage left? Like, I don't know what that looks like. But at the end of the day, God, you got it. You got it. So you just tell me, and I know as long as I got you, I'm gonna be good. If I don't have nobody else, I'm gonna have you, and I know you're going to bring people into my life. I hate when people be like, I don't need nobody. Yes, you do. You need somebody, but you just need to wait until God tell you who's gonna be there. Like you can't do this by yourself. But I'm more like, God, okay, you control it. I can't. And so that's how I combat that fear of success. Because I'm like, it's scary. I have no idea. Especially like the idea that I'm about to launch next year, like huge. I have no idea. But I'm going to keep doing it because you said it.
I know. How many businesses have you started already? 31. I mean, you got like it's going. So when you do a motivational storytelling thing, let's say whatever, is that what that looks like? In that you tell, what does that look like when let's say you're going to speak before a group? Motivational storytelling, what does that look like, and what do you typically cover?
Anything and everything. It really depends on the event, because I've done it for businesses, I've done it for startups, I've done it for leadership, I've done it for mindset management. So it really just it depends. But it's a conversation. I like to tell people, even like if you come to any of my engagements, I'm like, hey, this is an engagement. I'm not out here talking to myself. I don't do lectures. I'm speaking to you. We're having a conversation. And I've always been like that. Even when I was younger, we having a conversation. So talk back to me. And the environment is always set where people feel comfortable talking back. So the same way we're talking here, this would be the speaking engagement, except for maybe I'm speaking a little bit more, asking a little less, but you're still talking, you're engaged. Because that's when it starts to sink into you, things that's going on. People can lecture all day long, but after a lecture, have you really gotten that much out of it, as opposed to when you felt like you were having a conversation?
Right. I love conversation. That's my favorite. Now, you just did something for Angela Hawk, Women Who Inspire and Influence. Is that the win? What did you speak about in that one?
We talked about how COVID has affected us as a business, and even how we overcame that, what that looks like, and even how to communicate and connect even in this COVID environment. And it was really good experience. I would suggest people catch the replay because it was a really good experience.
Okay. What's some of your takeaway? What do we do during COVID when we're all like, we can't do anything, we're all just stuck in the little house? Although,
well,
Lindsay and I have said this has launched Meet Me in the Middle to beyond our borders. Like she said, we've been able to interview people from Kenya, Africa, Connecticut, other Mobile, Alabama. We had our daughters on talking about, women's issues and all kind of stuff, parenting in pandemic times and all that kind of stuff. So give us some motivation in the middle of our pandemic.
Well, I would say, kind of like what you said, it has allowed us to reach out to touch people that we would have never been able to touch. So utilize this moment in time to touch people that you haven't been able to touch. Don't waste this time. Don't waste the moment. It's okay to take a break. You don't have to work every single day. It's okay to take a break because your body does need the rest. But utilize the time and the moment to hear somebody else's perspective on life. Hear about what's going on in other parts of the world and just connect virtually. Because when this is all over and we're able to go where we want to go, there may be a new destination for you now. You may be over here in Dubai doing events that you would have never thought about doing, and this would have propelled you there because now you've connected with someone virtually and you guys want to meet physically now. So utilize this time and this space and ask God what your place is in this time. That's been one of the biggest things that I've been telling people. Ask God what your place is right now. Where's your fight at in this battle to connect humans back together again? He'll give it to you.
Yes, he will. I love that.
I think this is kind of like everything's on pause, but I had this thought the other day because I took a walk the other day. I try to walk about 3 miles a day, and I weave through my neighborhood and down the main road and around and everything. And God orchestrated me meeting this man who's a handyman, and he was working, and we just started up a conversation. Before it was all over, honey, we were praying in the middle of the street. And then the other day, met him again, and he and my friend and another neighbor were singing and worshiping right on the street. You know what I'm saying? And I walked away from that encounter that it was just so cool, and God just seemed to just drop it right in front of me, say, here's a gift for you today. But God spoke to me after that and said, I haven't stopped working. I'm not on pause. I'm still very much working. I'm still very much involved in doing a whole bunch of stuff. So nothing about this has put him in pause. And God, he kind of gave me this thing, God's not in quarantine. He's not in quarantine right now. He doesn't have to worry about getting COVID. That's not going to happen to him, and he is not in quarantine. And so we may not see or feel like he's working as much right now, but there's a lot going on, But wow, Lindsay, wrap this up for us, honey. I'm filled up.
Well, I mean, it can't get any better than talking about what the Lord is doing. But I resonate on 2 things that were said. And one of them is ask the Lord where your place is right now in COVID. That's powerful to me.
Yes.
And that's something that you said, Therisa. And the second thing was things are not happening to you, they're happening for you. So as we conclude this, we want to leave those thoughts with you. And those are very inspiring thoughts from such a powerhouse of a young woman who is part of that millennial group that is turning this world upside down. So we want to thank you for joining us today with Meet Me in the Middle. We have had a fantastic time. And as usual, we have, really great guests that come on and share what has been their middle, what they might still be in the middle of. But hopefully this inspires you. Make sure you watch all 3 episodes. Not all 3 episodes like we did before. All 3 episodes. And we look forward to seeing you. Make some comments, give us some feedback, and we will see you next time. Thank you so much.
Oh my goodness, Therisa, thank you so much. We're so proud of you. So glad, so honored to be your friend. And we just look forward to God doing great things with all of us, right?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, ladies. It has been phenomenal.
Much grace and love and God's blessing and favor on you. All right, guys, we'll see you next time.
All right, take care.